After I told my friend group at work that the way I motivate my wife to clean is by making her cry, they started avoiding me like the plague, but my method is making our house way cleaner, and I don't see any reason to stop. Okay, so I know the title makes it sound bad, but hear me out. I, 28M, have been married to my wife Lindsay, 25F, for 2 years. We've been together for 7. Our marriage is great. Despite us both being busy with work, we still make time to go on dates and be intimate with each other whenever we can. I work in engineering and Lindsay is an RN, so I pay for most of the bills and utilities. We split the bills, but I pay for majority of the costs because I make more. Lindsay usually fully covers grocery costs and the Wi-Fi, which isn't much because it's just the two of us. I feel that since I make and spend more money, Lindsay should make up for that in housework. I'm not some traditional wife-desiring jerk. I think it's great that she works and has goals for her career. I want her to. I feel like our chores are split fairly. It changes day by day depending on our schedules, but typically, Lindsay cooks our meals. She is much better than me. Trust me, you don't want me anywhere near a kitchen, but it's nothing fancy or requiring a lot of effort. She does the dishes and vacuums, but it's not daily. It's more like an as-needed basis. I take out the trash weekly and wash our cars about once a month. This has always seemed fair to me, but recently I've felt frustrated with her. I've been at my current job for 6 years and I've developed really great friendships in my time here. There's a few of us that always get together on break for lunch and whatnot. One of my coworkers, John, has been married to his wife Claire for about 10 years if my memory serves correctly. About a month ago John invited me and the rest of the gang plus our wives to have dinner at their house. Claire is a stay-at-home mom, so she handles everything at home while John works and brings home the bacon. I know this sounds bad, but I was jealous. Not because she's a stay-at-home mom, I don't want kids, but because John has a wife that actually puts effort into her food and cleaning. Their house was immaculate, completely spotless, no dishes left in the sink, little knick-knacks left out on countertops, nothing. I couldn't believe it. Claire set the table and waited on everyone. She was thoughtful and made sure everyone's glasses were always full and would ask if she could get us more food, etc. She made filet mignon with mashed potatoes and roasted vegetables on the side. It was amazing, and I can't remember the last time Lindsay put any effort into our meals. It's always something lazy like pasta, a lot of chicken-centered meals, tacos, quesadillas, everything requiring little to no effort. On the drive home, Lindsay made a comment about how Claire is an amazing cook and said she would like to have dinner with them again because they're great people. I agreed with her and said something along the lines of, you could also be more adventurous with your meal choices so we can eat good at home too. She took offense to this and said she didn't realize her food was so bad. I said it wasn't, but it's nothing compared to Claire's because she puts no effort into it. She stopped talking to me and was pouting like a child. She went to bed without speaking to me that night. I ended up apologizing the next day when she got home and she forgave me. Fast forward a week later and I became more and more frustrated. She was working 12-hour shifts more than usual, and as a result, her housework suffered. She would leave at 7 a.m. and come home at 7 p.m., and on some nights she went straight to bed without making dinner. I ended up getting takeout on those nights. Dishes were piling up in the sink, the carpets were becoming noticeably dirty, and she just sat in bed scrolling on her phone or sleeping. I tried to be understanding at first, but at this point she's used to working 12-hour shifts, so there really is no excuse. I ended up having a talk with her and was brutally honest. I told her that I'm not satisfied with her level of housework anymore and I want her to do more. I want her to come home and make dinner, and I want her to put more effort into it. I gave her some examples of meals I would like to eat and suggestions for ways that she can clean before going to bed, such as drinking coffee or energy drinks on the way home. I thought she was receptive to my ideas at first, but then I realized she looked pissed. She very coldly asked me if I feel this way because of John's wife, and I answered honestly and said yes. I told her I would be embarrassed if my friends came over to have dinner with us after that dinner at John's. She started tearing up when I said this, and I felt kind of bad for being so harsh. She didn't say a word to me and just left the room. I came out a short while later and saw her maniacally scrubbing a stain out of the carpet on her hands and knees, still crying. I asked her what she was doing and she screamed, "What does it look like, you fudging jerk?" The stain she was scrubbing was pretty much gone, but she continued for what felt like hours. I started feeling sorry for pushing her to that point, but then I remembered something. Something that could work out great for me or go horribly wrong. When she was in high school, she was Baker acted, I will not disclose details out of respect, and was in a psych ward. She told me she used to neglect herself when she felt really depressed, but after being in the ward, she obsessively cleans when she feels depressed or overwhelmed because of the habits they drilled into her. I almost felt like a DC villain because of the huge smirk that crept on my face. So, the next night she got home at 7 p.m. I told her I had something to confess to her and she looked petrified. I told her I was sorry, but I watched porn while she was at work because I was lonely. She ended up throwing up from crying so much, but just as I thought, she started cleaning. She washed all the dishes by hand instead of using the dishwasher. She dusted everything, every fan, every TV screen, every shelf. I didn't want it to be too obvious, so I started limiting this trick to 4x a week max. Skip to present day, I made a joke at lunch with my coworkers about how I trained my wife to love cleaning. Everyone was laughing and asked for the secret, so I said all I have to do is make her cry and she can't wait to clean. Daniel asked me what I mean, and I told him about how her response to being upset is to clean, so I've been upsetting her on purpose. Everyone was silent while I was still laughing. Adam asked why in a very unamused tone. I spilled the beans about how Claire made me realize how unmotivated my wife is, and I wish Lindsay was more like her. The rest of lunch was pretty awkward and I felt like I made everyone uncomfortable. I ended up texting John to ask if I did something wrong because he didn't come by my station before leaving like he usually does. He told me he felt really weird about the way I was treating my wife and idealizing his. He told me I was being a jerk and emotionally abusing her when I should just communicate. I argued against this because I did communicate. I told her exactly what I wanted from her and all she did was make excuses about being tired from work and needing sleep. She even suggested that I should clean more if the state of the house bothers me so much and that I should learn how to cook before criticizing her. We wouldn't be able to afford the house we live in if it weren't for me. The lifestyle we live is because of me, so why can't she just show appreciation by cleaning and cooking better meals? It's been 3 days now and I am now sitting alone at lunch. When I sit with my usual group everyone stops talking. I feel like I really fudged up and want to make things right with my friends, but at the same time I feel like what I'm doing is okay because it's not for no reason. She's actually cleaning more and I'm so proud of her. Am I the jerk because I want to keep doing it? Commenter 1. You're the jerk. Don't worry, you can figure it out after she divorces you. Commenter 2. You're a jerk. Household chores are divided in accordance with the number of hours worked outside of the home, not income. If your wife is working 12-hour shifts, you should be doing most of the housework, not just half. Commenter 3. You got me at the first few sentences and I almost agreed. But then it gets worse. You just sound like an ungrateful entitled brat who never appreciates his wife. You're a jerk. Fake. But if it was real, you'd be one of the worst people I've ever seen on this sub. Edit. I understand that I'm the jerk now and no, this is not fake. Sorry to deprive you of that comfort. It's impossible not to recognize something is wrong with you when a good 80% of the comments are calling it fake or hoping it is. I understand now that I mentally abused my wife and I do want to fix it. Thank you to the 2 people who actually took the time to offer constructive feedback and advice. As much as I hate the thought I'm going to seek out a professional. It isn't possible for everyone to be wrong and I'm right, even though that's what my brain is telling me. I know something is wrong with me even though my brain is saying there isn't. Thank you all for helping me realize it. As per request, I will update in the future if there are any changes. Update, 4 months later. So, hi. It's been a while. I don't have a lot to say, but I was asked to update if I ever decided to try therapy and I did. I didn't like it. I dropped out of individual therapy after 2 sessions. My therapist was more interested in my childhood than giving me actual advice, but stuck with couples therapy. I tried, I really did. The therapist and my wife would gang up on me. The therapist changed my wife a lot. She went from being kind and soft-spoken to rude and brazen. She would snap on me for absolutely nothing and constantly bring up things I've done in the past to use against me in an argument to try and make me submit. Remember how my wife is an RN? Yeah, well she was frigging cheating on me with some ugly guy working the same shifts as her. She confessed to that in therapy and said if I could forgive her she could forgive all the things I've done. Nothing I have ever done has been close to this. I have never cheated. Vows mean nothing apparently. She also shared a lot of things she never told me, like her last grandparent passing away. In her words, he wouldn't care. Yes, I would have if she told me. She had no reason not to. I wouldn't have been so harsh about the housework if I knew she was grieving, but no, go ahead please, don't tell me anything and then use it against me later because that makes sense. I thought couple therapists were supposed to be neutral. Isn't their entire purpose bringing couples together and helping them understand each other? Since when do they call their clients manipulative? How is that allowed? Anyways, back to the batch wife, I can't forgive a cheater. She is staying with her parents for now as we are separated. I don't want her back in my house. It makes sense now why she didn't want to smash anymore. We stopped going on dates. Our intimacy suffered. All because she cheated. Therapy was a waste of time and money, but I guess it was worth it in the end because I learned what kind of person she really is. She disgusts me. I did not want therapy but I tried my best for her and to change. That is clearly not what she wanted because she cheated. I learned this information last month and I have finally come to terms with it. As for my friends, I'm still cool with a few of them. Others clearly look down on me so I don't interact with them anymore, but we don't eat lunch together anymore. I sit elsewhere now and it's not too bad honestly. I'm meeting new people. Maybe I'll find love again soon but who knows. My reputation at work in regards to personal matters is kind of bad now. Well, that's really it. Thank you for reading. Commenter. First time I don't have any empathy with a person who was cheated on. That's new. Commenter 2. I concur. Furthermore, she even gave him one last chance there, when she told him about the affair. She said if he could forgive that, she could find a way to forgive him. Then he may as well have spat in her face, when he refused that reasonable offer. Even the offering was more than he deserved. As they say, good riddance to bad rubbish. My girlfriend of 2 years had no issues introducing me as a friend to her new coworkers, so I had no issues flirting with one of them, but after we talked about it, she said I cheated and she was only embarrassed to admit she was dating me because of my ethnicity. Me, 28M, and my girlfriend, 29F, have been together for more than 2 years. We recently moved to a new city, and she has started working in a new place 3 months ago. 2 days ago was an after-work get-together event at a bar with her coworkers, and she forgot her phone charger at home and her battery was low. I went to give her the extra power bank we have at home, as her phone uses the old USB type. As I went to her table to give it to her, one of her colleagues asked her who I am. Before I could say anything, she replied, "This is my friend, my name." He agreed to lend me the charger. I was a bit taken aback, and looked at her and said, "Friend?" She just laughed and said, "You are so funny, thank you for this," and waved to me, as in implying goodbye. One of the other colleagues asked me that if I was free, I can also join them, and I said why not, and I could sense the annoyance on my girlfriend's face. People were drinking, some talked to me and asked me questions, made conversation, what do I do, where did I grow up, etc. I should mention at this point that my girlfriend and most of her colleagues there were Chinese, and I am Indian. This becomes relevant later. Whenever someone would ask me anything related to how I met my girlfriend, she would pipe up to answer in a way that wasn't untrue, but completely omits any romance, giving the impression that we were just old friends. This kept bothering me, and I will admit I was getting pretty angry. Then one of the colleagues, who initially asked who I was, pretty drunk now, said GF's name never told us she had such a good-looking friend, and laughed. My GF also did a small polite laugh. I replied I didn't know she had such a pretty colleague either and winked at her, which made her laugh more, but my GF became visibly upset. Another colleague said to my GF, "Seems like you are an expert Cupid." My GF was turning red, and I was also feeling slightly uncomfortable, so after a bit more chit-chat I made an excuse and said I got to go. The colleague said I should get her number from my girlfriend, and then I left. Now, when she came back she refused to talk to me, and yesterday she angrily told me that I had kind of cheated on her, and hurt her badly. I replied that although what I did was hurtful, she also needs to own up that introducing me as just a friend was hurtful. She refuses to acknowledge it as wrong, saying that she is just socially awkward, and she thought that her colleagues might react weirdly to her dating an Indian guy, as they all are dating white or other Chinese people. Her reasoning is that it is a lot of explanation and questions regarding interracial dating, and she just wanted to avoid all that. I don't buy it. I feel she just wanted to hide the fact that she is dating me. We are at an impasse. I refuse to apologize till she sees that what she did was wrong, and she thinks she did not do anything wrong, and I was mean. Am I a jerk here? Commenter 1. Absolutely not a jerk. Your girlfriend essentially erased your relationship to her new friends. New friends, I might add, who clearly didn't give a toss about your ethnicity. Your judgment was right. She just didn't want to admit she was dating you. Sorry, but that's a deal breaker. Commenter 2. Not a jerk. Your girlfriend introduced you as just a friend after 2 years together. That's hurtful. Flirting back was petty, but understandable. She can't hide the relationship and expect you to act like her boyfriend in front of people she's hiding you from. You both need to talk honestly about why she's ashamed to acknowledge you. Update. Thank you all for your responses and advice on my previous post. The last 3 days were a whirlwind. To answer some questions people had, in the work friend group that day there were 3 guys as well. I did not publicly correct her because saving face is quite important for her. She would have had a literal panic attack if I had done that. On Friday we talked. I admitted I was petty, but I was also hurt from her introduction as a friend. She broke down. At work they have a group chat where they share memes and it gave her the impression that they hate Indian people. She did not want to become the topic of jokes, so she had planned to introduce me slowly to the group, as a friend, and after they start liking me, reveal that we are dating. This had backfired badly because I started talking to them last week before she was ready, and she got anxious and went into autopilot mode to support her initial lie that I was a friend. She felt helpless, guilty and hurt when they found me acceptable and cool and I started flirting. Why did she not tell me all this earlier? She felt that it would make me dislike her coworkers who are otherwise actually nice people and I would feel bad that she works with them. I asked her if I could see that group chat. I wanted to make sure this was the reason and not a work crush as many suggested. Almost 1/3 of the older memes they shared were Indians dirty uncivilized or Indians horny creeps etc. Y'all know, they are plenty on IG. There were also some about Southeast Asians, all mostly posted by one guy and one girl, others would just laugh, react or do a one-liner. I scrolled back to an old message by my ex, GF to one of these memes. She had said, "I have an Indian friend, he is pretty nice actually." Someone had replied, "You found one of the clean ones," to a bunch of laugh reacts. There were also some recent messages after they met me, but I didn't bother read and translate it all. I realized that although she liked my personality and looks, she was never very interested in my language or culture. Since I started dating her, I got an HSK3, can cook most Chinese dishes perfectly, know all about her region, but Holi will come and go without her still knowing what Holi is. I felt hurt by how those kinds of jokes weren't a big enough deal for her. I asked her why she never said anything to them about these jokes. She said this is the kind of reaction why she didn't tell me before. She feels like a relationship is private, and it is not a part of who she is as a person, especially at work, so she saw no reason to create tension. I feel she just means I'm not worth it. I asked her point blank if she would have preferred if I was not Indian. She said it would have made her life easier. That stung me. I packed some clothes and went to a friend's house. I don't even know how to write about my feelings even now, but I felt very hurt, as if my trust was completely broken by her. My friend is going on vacation and will let me stay at his place while I find a new one. Today I went to get my other belongings, and she was crying a lot. She says she does not understand why something so minor can make me break up and throw away a good thing. She says she loves me, and if it is so important she will change her workplace. I told her I will need to think about things, but I cannot be with her right now. My brain honestly feels like a jumble right now. I know that I feel hurt but having a hard time articulating what are the things that hurt me. Commenter 1. It's interesting that she feels that erasing a whole part of who you are is something so minor. She wasn't proud of you. Didn't defend you. Didn't have courage to call you hers publicly. So she loses all the goodness that you are. I'm proud of you for choosing yourself and holding a line. It would be easy to just try to get past this, but you're honoring your worth. Your ex can find an easier partner more aligned with her ingrained racism. In the meantime, you're going to go on kicking goals in life. Commenter 2. Bruh. This is not minor. She is delulu if she thinks their racism and her own is minor. You were absolutely right to break things off with her. Do not ever consider getting back with her. Racism should be a deal breaker. End of story. Commenter 3. I mean, she's in a den of racists and was too weak to be a good person for months. She was willing to be going out for drinks friends with racists when she had an Indian boyfriend. Not to mention that she keeps doing this in multiple situations, presumably because she's not willing to be publicly in a relationship with you. She's ashamed of your race/ethnicity, as it reflects poorly on her in her worldview. She sucks. Commenter 4. She says she does not understand why something so minor can make me break up and throw away a good thing. The fact she considers this minor is proof she isn't capable of being a good partner to you. It has nothing to do with changing her workplace because the problem is her and will remain a problem no matter where she works or who she meets. She's made it clear she isn't interested in your culture and isn't willing to stand up for you even against people who don't matter, so she certainly would never stand up for you against her family or other people important to her. I'm not letting my sister adopt my newborn baby because I'm 99% sure that her husband is on some sort of list to keep him away from children, and my whole family is harassing me because of it. I, 22M, have been harassed by my parents and sister, 37F, for the past 4 days now. My ex, 22F, had a baby about a week ago. Failed birth control on both of us. She kept telling me that she wanted this baby despite knowing I would only financially provide. We discussed getting rid of it and adoption. I didn't force her to either option. Now that the baby is here and in NICU, my ex is nowhere to be found. Ignored all my calls/texts. Nothing has been posted on her socials. Her parents can't even get in touch. One of the nurses handed me the car seat for my ex's car. My sister says she is willing to step up and adopt this baby. I'm not comfortable with that, because her husband, 47M, creeps me out. I don't have good feelings about him. I don't have proof, but I feel like he's on some sort of list. So I found a nice couple who wants to adopt this baby. They have been visiting us at the NICU, getting to know me and spend time with the baby. I like this couple. My family doesn't since they want a close adoption. Plus the couple is 2 women and my parents are ignorant. The adoption will go through in a couple of weeks in case my ex shows up. For now they could be the legal guardian until everything legal gets settled. Also I took a paternity test and am the biological father. Am I a jerk for not allowing my family to adopt this baby? Edit. The reason I believe her husband is on some sort of a list, I was 15 when I met my sister's husband. He would give me looks that made me feel uncomfortable. He also tried to get me alone with him so I would try to stay around my mom all the time when he was around. I refused to go to their house for any holidays. This does make my parents upset with me and has for years. I told my mom how I felt when I was younger and she brushed it off. Update. The police have found my missing ex. She was checked out by medical. I introduced her to the couple that want to adopt the newborn and my ex agrees that they would be perfect parents. The newborn will be going home with the couple after being cleared to leave. The couple is also going to pick the name. The adoption process is going to take a while. For now they will have temporary guardianship over the newborn. We have already started the process. My ex and I got plenty of photos with the newborn and some with the couple. I am still no contact with my parents and told my sister that I believe her husband is a Drake reincarnation that was never convicted. She refuses to talk to me. I am working on repairing my relationship with my ex, because I still love her. I am also working on repairing my relationship with her parents. She told me that it's okay to share the reason she took off. My ex, I called you when I started having bad contractions, but you never answered. I took that as you fully committing to not be around for this baby and I got scared. Nobody was there. You weren't there for me. I would have been there had I answered that phone call. I didn't answer, because I was at work and I didn't know that she was going to give birth early. I feel terrible for putting her through that. Edit. You know what, I'm going to be the jerk here and let my ex handle the situation now that she's back. Obviously her choice is better since she is the mother. She can decide to continue with a guardianship process for later adoption or to raise that baby with my financial support only. I'm wiping my hands about this situation and walking out. Going to focus on myself. Good luck to her. Commenter 1. One of my best friends growing up had a stepfather like this. They had this awesome pool and we weren't allowed to go swimming because we weren't allowed to wear swimsuits or tank tops around him. Now that I'm in my 30s I realize how truly messed up it was, but I always stayed clear of him. Commenter 2. Please start getting therapy, individual first and then couples therapy. You both would benefit so much from learning how to communicate with each other. I know pregnancy hormones can really mess with one's mind. I really wish all the best for both of you.
My mom brainwashed herself into thinking that my husband is going to abuse our daughter, despite him being nothing but an amazing father, only because he was abused as a child, and she won't stop when I tell her to drop it. I, 32F, have been married to my husband, 33M, for 7 years, and I've known him longer than that. My mother, 60F, watches our toddler daughter a few days a week while we work. Sometimes my husband's schedule lines up so that he can watch her. My mother has always had a problem with this. It started when my husband opened up to my mom about the intimate abuse he suffered as a child by a family member. I think he told her this because my mom's side of the family was going through something similar and he was trying to empathize. They used to be really close, even though my mom is super conservative and my husband has tattoos and piercings, and she was really skeptical of him when we first got together for these reasons. Mom believes that his prior abuse makes him a child lover. She says that she has read that children that were abused go on to abuse their own children. It started when our daughter was born with backhanded comments and assumptions, and came to a head when she showed up at our home when I wasn't there and accused my husband of abusing our daughter because she said that her privates hurt. That was yesterday. I talked to my daughter alone and asked her why she hurt, and she pointed to her lower stomach and said her privates hurt and she needed to poop. She's 3, and sometimes she confuses the names of body parts. I don't know what to say to my mom. I know I have to say something. I don't know how I'm going to take my daughter back to her home to be watched by her. I have no reason to suspect abuse and never have. I used to be a mandated reporter. I know the signs to look for. My husband is a wonderful father. He has gone to counseling to reconcile his past, and I think that he's come a really long way with the trauma. We have raised our daughter in the most loving and trusting way we can, and have taught her about anatomy and boundaries. My husband insisted on this, because the thought of his baby going through what he went through is unthinkable. My husband is obviously so hurt and furious at the actions of my mother. I think it's really unfair of her to assume he is dangerous just because he was abused. I'm also insulted that she thinks I would allow my daughter to be in a situation like that. How do I handle this? Commenter, let her know that she needs to back the fudge off and give him, and you, room to parent as you see fit. If she presses this issue, inform her she will be on a break from being allowed to see her grandchild, until she behaves appropriately to your husband. Update. First I want to say thank you to everyone that commented. There was a lot of truth to what was said, even if it was painful for me to hear. My Sil has been watching my daughter this week. I sent my mom a message saying how wrong it was what she did, and how hurt we all were by it. I told her that she damaged her relationship with all of us, possibly for good. I asked her to please not contact my husband, and told her that he will talk if he's ready. I also sent several links that were referenced in the original post. Thank you again to those that took the time to post them. My mom was very upset to hear that she will not be seeing any of us, especially our daughter, for a while. Our daughter can't understand why she can't see grandma, and of course she is too young to really talk to her about it. So that has been hard. Luckily my mom has agreed to meet with a counselor that was recommended to us as a mediator. I met with a counselor this week to explain everything, and it went really well and made me feel much better. It will be just her and I. My husband is not willing to talk right now and I don't blame him at all. The date for this meeting is still up in the air because I'm waiting to be ready too. I explained my fears to my mom that she could intentionally or unintentionally make my daughter believe something happened that didn't. This was the counselor's fear too. So far my mom has respectfully kept her distance and no CPS workers have shown up at my door. I reached out to a friend who is a social worker for advice on how to prepare if that does happen. Also unfortunately I believe that some were right about abuse that mom suffered as a child. We did talk on the phone and she confirmed that she experienced some things that she was not ready to talk about yet. I told her that I will support her and try to help her through it the best I can, but that she still has a responsibility to address the past so that it doesn't hurt people right now. Thank you again everyone. You've been very kind and helpful. Commenter, I always hate that child abuse is not just a here and now issue, but is a crime that reverberates down through the generations. The hurt, the trauma, the emotional and physical distress just carries on long after the initial crime has seemingly been dealt with. I hope that this stops with your husband's generation and that you and your mother can reconcile this and move beyond this. You did really, really well though, and you should be proud of both yourself and your husband.